Hi class, welcome to L320 Transitional Words and Phrases. So we're going to move on now from arranging sentences and paragraphs. Now we've already seen a lot of these transitional words because we cannot arrange or put a paragraph in order without transitional words. So let's just talk a little bit more specifically just about transitional words and how we use them. Well, transitions are like links of a chain. They link ideas and sentences together. The key to this lesson, ladies and gentlemen, is to learn when to use them. Now, all of you will receive a list of transitional words and phrases and the times to use them, but you're still going to have to put this to memory. Another big thing with transitional words is that they're usually used in the beginning of a sentence, or they can be used at the end or in the middle. But when we use them, don't forget the comma. But you will hear me stress the fact that then, THEN, does not need a comma. So let's go on and put our transitional words into categories. Cause and effect. In L320, you're going to be looking at two cause and effect transitional words, therefore and consequently. These transitional words are used when something happens because of something else. So there was little rain this summer, blank, the crop yield was low. So because of the little rain, the effect that there wasn't much crop. So we could use the transitional word consequently, the crop yield was low, or therefore the crop yield was low, because these two events show a cause and effect relationship. Or we can just play around here and just say the little rain caused a low crop yield. So cause and effect here, you're going to be know that you need to know that with the words therefore and consequently. You can write these two words down in your notes, or you can just highlight these words once you get your transitional words and phrases sheet from me. Let's talk about time. We are pretty familiar with these transitional words. Whenever we want to tell when things occurred at a particular moment in time, there are some transitional words that we use. Now, we pretty much know words like first, second, next, finally, last. So we're pretty good with time. So first, Kim went to the store. Second, she bought vegetables. So those words first and second let us know the order in which things happen. So transitional words used for time are very helpful. Just remember that time transitional words can be more than just first, second, and third, okay? It could be at the same time to let you know that two things were happening at once. So let's take a quick stop here and see, can we get these correct? Choose the right transition. I cooked the pasta. Should it be consequently or next? I heated the pasta sauce. So write this sentence on your paper and bring this into class and show me which one you chose. Also do the same thing for the next one. You broke the vase. Is it consequently or next? You must pay for it. So pause the recording here and work on these two sentences. So let's keep moving and talking about comparing and contrasting. So I know, by now we've heard compare, which means find out how things are similar or alike, and contrast is when we see how they're different. The words that you're going to see in this lesson are words like likewise and similarly or similar when we're talking about comparing things. And when we're talking about contrasting, you're going to see the words on the other hand and instead. So you have to, again, know when to use the word on the other hand. Again, that's to show differences, and likewise is to show similarities. So Kareem is a strong swimmer. Likewise, Chase is a great swimmer. So both boys are good swimmers. So because that's a comparison or similar, we would like to use the transitional word likewise here. Now there are others, of course, and you'll see the other ones on your list when I give you that list of transitional words. It's not always likewise. It could be in the same way or in the same manner. So there are other ones to use, but these are just the ones that you're going to see in L320. But please believe that I'm going to introduce to you as many transitional words for comparing and contrasting as I can. Here's another quick stop. Choose the right transition. I would like for you to write these words on your paper, and I would like for you to choose any of the transitional words that I've shown you so far, whether it's one for comparing or contrasting, one for time, or so you choose the one that fits here. It could be, again, time or comparing and contrasting, okay? So pause the recording here and get these sentences down. Now, let's talk about what it means to concede. Concede almost mean kind of to give in to or accept something. And it's usually not necessarily what you want to do, but you have to do it sometimes. So concede means to give in or to accept a situation. So the transitional words that you're going to see on this test are the words however and nonetheless. However, it's a tricky one. It is because it can be used for cause and effect. So just be aware that some transitional words are going to be used in different ways. But again, this is how you're going to see it in L320. So here's an example. The game was exciting, however, it lasted too long. So I'm saying something good and something bad in the same sentence. That's usually the easiest way for me to deal with conceding. So it was exciting, however, it was too long. Okay, kind of puts you in the mind of using the fanboy but here. All right, we won't use but in this lesson because that's a fanboy and it's used to connect two sentences using a coordinating conjunction. But now we want to try to do the same thing and use a transition. So however works here. And look at the next example. Tiffany is a pretty girl. Nonetheless, she has a bad attitude. So again, look at that. We're saying something good about Tiffany, but we're saying something bad about her also. So we want to use a transition like nonetheless here to show that we're saying good and bad in the same sentence, okay? Now, one of the sets of transitions that you probably use the most in writing or that you see is when you want to add a point or an idea. The words that you'll see on the test are in addition, further, and also. Again, on the list that I'm going to give you, there'll be a ton more. And when you're writing, I want you to practice using just more than these three. But again, on the test, this is what you'll see. Here's an example. I can go to the game. In addition, I bought tickets for all of us to go. So I'm going to go, but let me add another point here. I bought tickets for all of us to go. Here's another one. The notebook is missing. Also, her pen is gone. So one thing is missing, but let me add another idea, another point here. Her pen's missing too. So whenever, again, we want to add points or add things to a sentence or paragraph or story, we can simply use these set of transitional words. Again, you can write these down, or when you receive your list in class, you can highlight these because these are the ones you'll see on the test. Let's keep moving. To give examples or another set of transitional words that you will also see a lot used often on the test, you'll have for example and for instance. I love science fiction movies. For example, my favorite movie is 3 Light Years. So here we're going to show an example of something, and pretty much you'll use the words for example or for instance. Just another thought about transitions. I kind of mentioned this earlier. They can be anywhere. Right now in my examples, you have seen them all at the beginning of the sentence. But I want you to know that that is not where they always have to be. Look at this example. Libby is tired. She will, however, still go to the movies. Did you notice that however is placed in the middle of a sentence? Do you see the commas surrounding it? Now we'll talk about commas a little more in our next lesson, but notice that however has to be set off with commas in that sentence because it's interrupting the flow of that sentence. Look at the next one. Vegetables are good for you. Carrots, for example, help improve your eyesight. So that's my mistake. There should be an S on helps. I'm sorry. But notice that for example is in the middle of the sentence here. Look at these last two. Betty likes to cook. She, in addition or however, likes to bake cookies. So what's the relationship here? It says she likes to cook, and then it says she likes to bake cookies. So which transitional? We're finding things that are alike, right? Or I'm trying to add another thing that she likes to cook. So tell me which transition works here, in addition or however. Hopefully you chose in addition because I'm adding something else that she likes to do. Here's another one. Most people enjoyed Haunted House. Kadrika, however, or for example, thought it was boring. So I got to think about the relationship here. It says that most people enjoyed it, but I have Kadrika over here who thought it was boring. So this seems to be in contrast or seems to be saying something good and bad in the same sentence. So we're going to go with however, right? Good.